Karoline Leavitt is the press secretary at the White House, doing a great job. Such a great job that the ladies of The View feel the green monster coming up.
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10.
All right, folks, buckle up because today's drama is hotter than ever. It's the showdown nobody saw coming, but everyone's talking about. Picture this, a no-holds-barred verbal beatdown delivered by none other than podcast king Joe Rogan, aimed directly at Sunny Hostin of The View. What triggered the roast of the year? Well, let's just say Sunny's recent comments and antics have stirred up a storm, and Rogan wasn't about to let it slide. And trust us, his words were nothing short of brutal.
They really don't like this woman. She's a good communicator. And so Joy Behar just offered her analysis on why Leavitt was picked for the role.
Right out of the gate, Rogan came swinging, calling Sunny Hostin certainly not the brightest person and claiming that her recent statements just don't make any sense. He added, if you average out the IQ of The View's host, you're not hitting triple digits. Ouch! That's not just a jab. That's a full-on knockout punch. Rogan didn't hold back as he laid into what he described as the show's performative outrage and lack of intellectual credibility. He painted Sunny as the queen of victimhood while pointing out her tendency to attack anyone who doesn't fit her narrative. And honestly, you could hear the internet collectively gasp as his rant unfolded.
She said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you.
Now, what exactly set Rogan off? Well, it seems to all stem from the ongoing saga between The View and Karoline Leavitt, the youngest ever White House press secretary, who's been making waves for her sharp intellect, bold moves, and no-nonsense approach. Leavitt, a rising star in conservative circles, recently found herself in The View's crosshairs after delivering a fiery first press briefing that left traditional media scrambling. But instead of focusing on her policies or qualifications, Joy Behar and Sunny Hostin turned to personal attacks, with Behar dismissively suggesting that Leavitt only got her job because she's a 10 in Donald Trump's eyes. Yep, you heard that right. Behar reduced Leavitt's numerous accomplishments to nothing more than her appearance.
Without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because women were not invited to that table.
And Whoopi Goldberg. Oh, she wasn't far behind. Hostin doubled down by accusing Leavitt of benefiting from the very wokeness she criticized during her press conference. She even went as far as to say, let me explain without that wokeness. You might not have that job. Implying that Leavitt's position was purely the result of political correctness. But here's where things get juicy. Instead of taking these attacks lying down, Leavitt clapped back harder than anyone expected. Not only did she call out The View for their hypocrisy, but she also dropped a legal bombshell, a defamation lawsuit reportedly worth $800 million against the show and its network, ABC. Now, let's pause for a moment to appreciate the irony here. The View, a show that prides itself on promoting women's empowerment, is now under fire for tearing down a young woman who's achieved incredible milestones at just 27 years old. And Rogan wasn't about to let that slide either. He went off on the show's double standards, pointing out how they preach feminism, but seem to only support women who align with their political beliefs. They destroy conservative women, Rogan said, while protecting their liberal counterparts. He even mocked the show's format, saying it's more like a reality TV circus where the loudest voice wins and facts are optional. And honestly, can anyone argue with that? But Rogan's rant wasn't just about Sunny Hostin or The View as a whole. It was also a broader critique of the legacy media and their treatment of figures like Leavitt. He called out the blatant bias and lack of accountability, highlighting how shows like The View have become echo chambers that refuse to entertain opposing viewpoints. And let's be real, he's not wrong. The internet erupted in agreement with fans flooding social media to praise Rogan for saying what many have been thinking for years.
Dang, Rowan, I couldn't do that at 27. No nonsense, straight to the point, courage, detail.
One comment summed it up perfectly. Joe Rogan didn't touch the tip of the iceberg. I hope he continues to do just what he's doing. Another fan chimed in with, Karoline Leavitt is a wonderful example for young women to aspire to. Shame on The View. The sentiment was clear. People are fed up with the hypocrisy and ready to rally behind those who aren't afraid to speak the truth. And speaking of Karoline Leavitt, let's not forget how she turned the tables on her critics during her press conference. In a move that left the legacy media reeling, she announced major changes to the White House press corps, including the introduction of new media, seats for independent journalists, podcasters, and influencers. This bold move was a direct challenge to the traditional media's monopoly on White House access and a clear signal that the rules of the game are changing. Naturally, The View's hosts didn't take kindly to this. Sunny Hostin dismissed the move as catering to unqualified individuals, while Whoopi Goldberg lamented that it would lead to people just spouting stuff without accountability. But Leavitt wasn't having any of it. She fired back, accusing legacy media of spreading lies and losing the trust of everyday Americans. And honestly, can you blame her?
Isn't it rich that The View is saying she got the job based on looks when DEI is all about based on looks?
The fallout from Leavitt's press conference and subsequent lawsuit has been nothing short of explosive. ABC executives are reportedly in full-blown panic mode, scrambling to do damage control as sponsors reconsider their deals. Inside, sources claim that even Whoopi Goldberg, a usually outspoken critic, is staying unusually quiet, which says a lot. As for Sunny Hostin, her media credibility is reportedly taking a nosedive, with some insiders speculating that ABC might cut her loose to save face. But at this point, the damage has already been done.
No. It's not. So first of all, and I have had my objections to the job that Karine Jean-Pierre did, but she worked in politics for 21 years, 5 presidential campaigns, and worked in 2 administrations.
And here's the kicker. This isn't just about The View or its hosts. It's about a broader cultural shift where people are no longer willing to tolerate biased narratives and personal attacks disguised as journalism. Rogan's rant and Leavitt's lawsuit are just the latest examples of this growing backlash. And it's clear that the tide is turning. Whether it's independent media calling out the hypocrisy of legacy outlets or young leaders like Leavitt challenging the status quo, one thing is certain. The old rules don't apply anymore. So, what's next? Will Rogan continue to call out Sunny Hostin and The View? Will Leavitt's lawsuit force ABC to finally hold its hosts accountable? Or will this just be another chapter in the ongoing saga of media bias and political division? One thing's for sure. This story is far from over, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Stay tuned because the drama is only just beginning.
A staunch Trump loyalist and unapologetic Gen Z conservative, Leavitt's sharp rhetoric and bold social media presence have already made waves.
All right, let's pick up where we left off and dig even deeper into the storm engulfing The View, Joe Rogan, and Karoline Leavitt. If you think the drama has peaked, buckle up because this saga is taking twists and turns no one saw coming. Beyond the immediate fallout, there is a growing narrative that this might just be the reckoning that daytime talk shows, and particularly The View, have been dodging for years. And here's the kicker. This controversy isn't just about who said what. It's a full-blown cultural moment, and everyone's choosing sides.
Earning a hefty 6-figure salary, she is not just the face of the president's second term, she's also the voice promising to shake up how the White House communicates.
Now, behind the scenes, word is that ABC executives are scrambling to contain the damage. And it's not just about Karoline Leavitt's lawsuit. The network seems to be waking up to the fact that the show's long-standing format, this cocktail of heated debates, personal jabs, and viral sound bites, might finally be catching up with them. Insiders are whispering that some of the higher-ups are reconsidering whether viewers are still on board with this kind of content. After all, the backlash isn't coming from just one corner of the internet this time. It's everywhere. From political commentators to casual viewers, the question is being asked, has The View crossed a line one too many times? And if so, can they come back from it?
The View co-host Sunny Hostin's husband, Emmanuel Hostin, has been accused of federal insurance fraud.
But let's not forget the pressure mounting on the hosts themselves. For Sunny Hostin, this is more than just a bad week in the headlines. Her credibility is in the hot seat, and not just because of her comments about Karoline Leavitt. Sunny has been a polarizing figure for a while now, known for her strong opinions that often spark heated reactions. But when you add Joe Rogan's scathing critique into the mix, well, it's no surprise that she's reportedly feeling the heat. Rumors are swirling that even some of her co-hosts are frustrated, especially given how this controversy has overshadowed the show's other topics. And let's be honest, when the team dynamic starts to crack, it's only a matter of time before the tension spills onto the screen.
According to the documents, he knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services, including arthroscopic surgeries.
And speaking of tension, let's talk about Joy Behar. The veteran host is no stranger to controversy, but this time her comments about Leavitt's appearance have landed her in a firestorm unlike anything she's faced before. Critics are calling her remarks not only sexist, but also hypocritical, given The View's supposed mission to empower women. And here's where things get even messier. Fans of the show, yes, fans, are starting to speak out against her. Social media has been flooded with posts from longtime viewers who say they've had enough of the personal attacks. For a show that thrives on audience loyalty, this could spell big trouble. After all, what's a talk show without its loyal fan base? Meanwhile, Karoline Leavitt isn't just sitting back and watching the chaos. Oh no, she's using this moment to double down on her message. Insiders close to her camp say she's been reaching out to alternative media outlets, giving interviews and amplifying her story. And honestly, it's working. She's not just winning over her conservative base. She's also getting traction with moderates who are tired of what they see as a toxic media environment. Her lawsuit against The View isn't just about clearing her name. It's about sending a message. And that message is loud and clear. If you come for me with faceless personal attacks, be prepared to face the consequences.
In the media, because I think it's a real fallacy that there's this alleged lack of transparency when it comes to Doge. President Trump and Elon Musk have been incredibly transparent on what Doge is doing.
But what makes this lawsuit even more intriguing is the potential ripple effect it could have across the entertainment and media industries. Legal experts are already speculating that if Leavitt wins, or even forces a settlement, it could set a precedent for holding talk show hosts accountable for their words in ways we've never seen before. Imagine a world where debates on daytime television have to pass a legal sniff test, or where networks face higher stakes for allowing their hosts to go unscripted. For better or worse, Leavitt's legal battle could change the rules of the game, and you better believe other talk shows are watching closely. Could this be the beginning of a new era for daytime TV? It's anyone's guess.
We have contracts upon contracts that we can send and provide this information to you. Let me be very clear. We are not trying to hide.
Meanwhile, it's not just Leavitt's lawsuit that's putting pressure on The View. Behind closed doors, there's talk of internal conflict among the hosts themselves. According to insiders, tensions are higher than ever, with some co-hosts reportedly feeling blindsided by the backlash and frustrated with how the controversy has been handled. One source even hinted at growing divisions, saying not everyone is on the same page about how to move forward, and it's creating a lot of friction. If true, this could spell trouble for a show that relies on its chemistry. However chaotic it may seem on screen, to keep viewers engaged, could cracks in the foundation lead to a full-blown shakeup in the cast? Only time will tell.
So we know Sunny Hostin and her husband, Dr. Emmanuel Hostin, are preparing for a legal battle to fight accusations that he committed federal insurance fraud.
But let's not forget how the audience is reacting to all of this. While some longtime viewers are sticking by The View, others are openly questioning whether the show has lost its way. Social media is flooded with posts from people saying they've been fans for years, but are now reconsidering their loyalty. I used to watch The View religiously, but this feels like a step too far, one post read. Others are even calling for boycotts, arguing that the show's tone has become too toxic to support. If the backlash gains traction, it could have serious implications not just for the show's ratings, but for its entire brand. After all, trust is everything in media, and once it's broken, it's not easy to rebuild. And then there's the question of how this controversy might affect other daytime talk shows. Could this be a wake-up call for the entire genre? Shows like The Talk and even newer programs are likely watching The View's predicament with a mix of relief and dread. Relief that it's not them in the hot seat, but also dread that they could be next. If audiences are growing tired of the constant drama and personal attacks, it might force these shows to rethink their formats entirely. Could this be the start of a broader shift in what viewers expect from daytime television? It's a fascinating possibility, and one that adds yet another layer of intrigue to this already explosive story. What's fascinating is how this whole debacle is shining a spotlight on the larger media ecosystem. Shows like The View have long been criticized for their lack of accountability, but this time it feels different. People are asking why hosts are allowed to make inflammatory statements without repercussions, especially when those statements have real-world consequences. And let's not forget the role of social media in all of this. Platforms like Twitter and Instagram have become battleground where opinions are amplified, dissected, and debated in real time. For The View, this means every word, every facial expression, every slip-up is under a microscope. And for hosts like Sunny and Joy, that kind of scrutiny can be brutal.
Sunny Hostin, her husband accused of committing federal insurance fraud in a lawsuit.
But let's not overlook the wild card in this saga, Joe Rogan. His takedown of The View didn't just make headlines. It reignited a long-standing conversation about the role of independent media in holding traditional outlets accountable. Rogan's audience is massive and fiercely loyal, and his critique of Sunny Hostin and the show as a whole has resonated far beyond his typical listener base. In a way, Rogan has become an unlikely hero in the story. By calling out what he sees as hypocrisy and intellectual dishonesty, he's given a voice to those who feel alienated by mainstream media. And let's be real, his influence is only growing. If The View thought this would blow over, they clearly underestimated the power of a well-timed Rogan rant.
This is the largest RICO case ever filed in the state of New York. You guys wrap that around your brain. That's bigger than the mafia.
As the dust begins to settle, or maybe just swirl even more violently, one thing is clear. This isn't just about The View, Joe Rogan, or Karoline Leavitt. It's about a much larger shift in how we consume and critique media. The lines between entertainment, news, and personal opinion are blurrier than ever, and moments like this force us to confront those blurred boundaries. So where does it all go from here? Will The View manage to weather the storm and come out stronger, or is this the beginning of the end for one of daytime television's most iconic shows? And what about Karoline Leavitt? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more celebrity gossip and updates.